Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about Python logging with rotating logs. And I do have a network automation example. So this script shows how to use rotating file handler, which is a class from the logging module. So we're going to log files once they, or rotate logging files once they reach a size limit. And we're going to send the logs to both console or terminal and to a file. And of course, this script shows how to run a command on a Cisco or network device with Netmiko. This part is where we are importing logging, the rotating file handler class from the logging module, and the ConnectHandler class from Netmiko. Okay, so the first step is we are setting up the logger and its base level. So here, this line, we are creating a named logger, and the name of the logger is network_automation. So we are just says here, this is a class, right? And we are assigning this object into a variable called logger. And here in this line, we are setting up the level. So in this case, we are setting it up to debug in above. So we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 logging levels. So non-set, debug, info, warning, error, and critical. Okay. So that's how you set up logger and its base level. Step number 2 is we are setting up the console handler, or the logs shown on the screen or terminal. So here we are creating or instantiating a stream handler. So the logs to the console, and we are assigning that object into a variable called console handler. And here we are setting up its level to info and above. The next step is we are setting up the file handler. So here we set up the console handler, and here we are just setting up the file handler. So logs that are saved to a file that are rotating. So in this line, this is where we set up or create the rotating file handler class or object, and we are assigning that object to a variable called file handler, and we are setting up the level to a debug of that object, right? And the next step is we set up the formatter and apply it to handlers. So this is the formatter. So we are creating a formatter object or instantiating a formatter object, and that object is called formatter, and we attach that object to both console handler and file handler, as we can see here. And here, step number 5 is where we attach the file handlers or the handlers themselves to the logger, to the base logger, which we set up here. Okay. So in other words, console handler and file handler are both objects, and we attach those objects to another object, which is the base object, to logger. And step number 6 is this is where we just define the device details, right? So here, this is a dictionary, and we are assigning that dictionary to to a variable called device. And of course, we have this variable that stores the command, which is show version. And step number 7 is this is where we connect and run the command. So here we are calling the logger.info, and we are passing in this string, right? F string. And here this is where we connect to the device, and we are assigning that object into a variable called Netmiko. And here we are again calling the .info logger. We are calling the .info function. No, this is a method. We call this a method because it's attached to a object. Okay, and this is where we send the command and disconnect our telnet connection. And this is where we specify the file name, open the file name or the file with write mode, and we basically write the output of the command, which is show version. And we have another logger.info here, which says command executed on the device, output saved to the file name. Okay, let me go ahead and run this script. Okay, we see the logs in the console. It says, of course, the timestamp and the level of the logs, which is in this case info, and the message. This is the format that we set up here. So timestamp, level, and the message. And this is the format of the timestamp itself. And we can also see this in the file itself called network_automation.log. So we can see here that the files or the logs is rotating because now we have two files. This is because of this line here. So we only set the max bytes or max size to 200 bytes. So that's why we see two files now, and the files can increase up to 3 log files. Okay, and of course this is the output of the show version command. So yeah, that's how you can use the Python logging with rotating logs in your Python scripts. All right, so hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.